All right. What's it been? Like Christmas
Oh, he's
time? Was that
back.
the last one? Was Christmas time the last one for these nightmare episodes? I think so.
Probably.
We're now in the
My
summer.
my phone note shows that our last update was 2022, so it could be.
Yeah, I think it was Christmas. I looked at my letterbox for when we watched Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and it was around Christmas time. So I'm John. This is The Pint, Scary Larry's House of Horrors. This is the 18th episode that the three of us have done, with occasional guests dropping in. We did all of the Friday the 13th, including an episode all about fan films.
Oh yeah, I
And
forgot that.
yeah, now we're 5 episodes into Nightmare on Elm Street, and they just keep getting better. That's not true. That part's not true at all. So let's go over a little bit of business before we jump into talking about this fifth entry into Nightmare on Elm Street, and give you guys a little bit of info on the guys here and what they're doing. Of course, we know Scary Larry Dwyer from ConnecticutCultClassics.com. Larry, great show the other night, by the way, man. It was a lot of fun. And that scene, was I wrong? Was that like packed? That was jam packed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was a sold out show.
Yeah.
I mean,
And,
never sold out. There's way more seats in there that I just won't sell because it's so fucking small in there. But
yeah.
that's about as big as I would fill it.
Did the other two John Carpenter nights do as well as that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember being there. I'm thinking if this one sold out, then the thing Big Trouble must have double capacity, right? Because
Yeah. The same because that's about as like I said, that's about as much as I'll do. What was it? Thing, Big Trouble, and They Live with Escape from New York.
Escape from New York, yeah,
Yeah, those both were. So I mean, Halloween 1 and 2, you can technically consider a Carpenter double feature too,
yeah,
even though I didn't really count it. But yeah, they all did really well. Carpenter does good. I mean, listen, if I did like an Escape from L.A. with vampires double feature, probably not.
yeah.
I wouldn't see that. Really putting the butts in the seats. But yeah, these movies did. I would love to do Starman. I said it the other night on stage, but I just don't know what the fuck I would pair it with. I don't. It's kind of not my wheelhouse, right? I mean, I show some non-horror, but the stuff I show is still genre, right?
Yeah,
I've
Starman
shown
is
some kung fu. I've shown some,
yeah.
some sci-fi shit. Starman is too mainstream.
Yeah, Starman might be a good like one of your Valentine's date nights ones, but
Yeah,
again, yeah, you're right. It's not a horror movie. It's out there for John Carpenter.
I love it though. I've always loved Starman. I saw it in the theater when I was a kid. My parents took me to see it.
Yeah, we just did it on the Patreon. Laura had picked
Right.
it, and I did that episode with Laura, and I had not seen it since. I don't think I'd ever seen it in completion.
Oh,
But we watched it, obviously not together, but I watched it, and I gave it a great grade. I really enjoyed that movie.
yeah, it's a heck of a movie, man. Fucking Jeff Bridges is out of control. He's
He
so
is
good.
so good in that. He is
And
so
did
good.
you guys bring up? I think I listened, but I don't remember. Did you guys bring up that was
Ted White?
yeah, Ted White?
Yeah, the Deer Hunter. Yeah.
Yep, from
Yeah.
Jason in part 4.
The strangest deer hunter ever, too, because he doesn't have a pickup truck. He's got the deer tied to the front of his sedan. Like, what? Like, what?
Yeah, he does.
That was very odd. Who's checking in here? All right, so far, Christopher, are they there to see the movies or Larry? That's the real question. Well, Larry was, as he's tonight,
Oh.
he was wearing a deep V-neck. All right, a deep V-neck, and you could get
Sexy.
the gold. You got the gold chain action, and
Silver.
it was very sexy. And yeah,
Silver.
you're right, Patrick. Bridges was nominated for an Oscar. Patrick
Oh, I
has-
don't think I knew that.
Yeah, he lost to the guy who played Salieri, F. Murray Abraham, in Amadeus.
Fair.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair. But I mean, great to be nominated for Carpenter. It's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, good man. He deserved it. He was fucking fantastic. He really was.
he certainly did. Next show, June 17th?
Starman and Memoirs of an Invisible Man. There we go. Next show, June 19th. Is that a Saturday? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, let's
Or
just
is
say
it
it's the
17th? Hold on, I got the tickets right in front of me.
All right.
I'm a moron.
Let's read them off.
17th, June 17th. It's A Night at the Mall double feature. with Kelly Maroney, who will not be there but is in both films.
Both films, yeah.
In both films, one of them takes place almost exclusively at a mall, and the other one has a good amount of scenes in the mall. We'll start the night with Night of the Comet with Kelly Maroney and what's her name, Kathy Mary Stewart from Christine, and
Yes.
we'll end the night with the glorious Chopping Mall from 19.
Yeah. And Chopping Mall's about an hour and 2 minutes long, so
Literally,
No.
I
yeah,
was laying out the timeline. I was like, woohoo, get to go home a little early.
we'll be home by 9:30. I remember.
There are 3 movies from the old COVID era Saturday night watch parties that I have voluntarily watched a second time, and Chopping Mall is one of them.
What are the other two?
Ricky O,
Oh,
obviously.
you love Ricky.
Oh, God.
And
Yeah.
I knew that would make John mad. I had my wife watch half of Ricky O, maybe like 10 minutes of it, and she was like, "This is the worst thing ever."
Oh, Amanda.
And
What else?
the other one was the John Stamos one, Never Too Young to Die.
That's a good one.
Dude, a few months ago, and I think I told you, John, I was just flipping through the channels and it was on regular TV, Stu.
That's super weird.
What the fuck is this doing on a television fucking network? I was like, oh my God. And just an FYI, Stu, top of my head, I don't remember which company it was. Somebody just released Ricky O on Blue.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I'll send you, and like it's like a box. It's like a good box. I didn't pick it up. I still have a DVD, but I'll find it and send you the info in case you
Okay.
might want to pull that trigger.
On my last trip to the archive with the Manster back in April, I picked up Ticks from that watch party, and it's like it's so crazy because like
That's
I'm
not a
watching.
good movie.
Well, but the thing is like it's not. But like you did something magical during that time, Larry, where you like you gave us these movies, and even as I was watching them initially, like you even made me kind of like Lady Terminator when you showed it then. And I hated it when you showed it at your theater. I mean, I hated that.
Yeah, you did.
I hated it. So yeah, you did
know,
something very cool.
I think I had the opposite reaction where I was so used to the Saturday night watch party movies being like F tier crap that even the ones I like, I couldn't find it in me to give higher than 2 stars.
Yeah.
And so whenever I rewatched Chopping Mall and rewatched Ricky O, I was like, no, these are definitely over 3-star movies.
I can't disagree with you.
Yeah, Hard
I love those
Ticket to
movies.
Hawaii. I love
So
that thing.
good.
I love
So
that thing.
good. So good.
All right, let's jump over to our buddy Stu, swoproductions.com. New episodes every new Stu on the
Two
two.
on the twos.
That's what they say. I know I haven't listened to it yet. What is your newest episode? Just came out the
Newest
other day.
episode is Ant-Man. From
Okay.
The first Ant-Man movie.
Okay. All right. I know I listened to your Punisher episode, and you said something in your Punisher episode that I just got to say I felt from my core. I only saw the Punisher 2004 once, way back when it came out. But I thought at the time that like making them kill off his whole family,
Oh,
like
yeah.
just like deludes like all of the Punisher-ness of it. Like his wife and his kids really drive home, but when they're killing like third cousins and stuff, it's ridiculous. And you guys both said that, and I was like, wow. I've never heard anybody vocalize that before, so that was very exciting.
Was that
Yeah,
Dolph
it's just-
Lundgren? Was that Dolph Lundgren?
No, that's
who-
Tom Jane.
I don't know if I ever saw that.
John Travolta's the bad guy.
No, I definitely didn't see that.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All
It's I only saw it once, and I don't remember much about it. It borrows heavily from the Garth Ennis "Welcome Back, Frank" arc, and I want to watch it again because I haven't seen it in so long.
The best part of the movie is Kevin Nash plays the big heavy villain at one scene,
Oh, nice.
and he gets stabbed in the chest by a butterfly knife. And in real life, they forgot to switch the knife out, so Tom Jane actually stabbed Kevin Nash with a butterfly knife.
Dude,
Right in the chest.
I got stabbed through the hand with a butterfly knife. me and Kevin Nash, brothers. We're brothers. I didn't even know.
I got nothing. I've seen a butterfly knife. I've never
Yeah.
been stabbed by one.
Seen one
Yeah,
in
it
the
sucks.
wild.
It sucks, dude. Don't let it happen.
Patrick says your watch parties help me get through the pandemic, and I will always be grateful for them. Thank you always, sir. Patrick's great, man. We saw Patrick the other night.
Yes.
At
good to see him.
Patrick had the best shoes I've seen in a long time.
I
Neon
see
pink
shoes.
neon pink sneakers, man.
Oh,
And he
nice.
just said, I just dressed in drab colors all my life, man. I'm going for it, right?
Oh.
Yeah, they were
How'd I
hot
miss
too.
it?
They were hot.
I was so preoccupied with my V-neck that I missed his
Yeah.
sneakers.
You were looking pretty good. You were looking pretty good. All right, let's get into what we're here to get into. and let's talk a little bit about A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child.
So we have to?
We do.
Or...
We do.
okay.
We can knock it out and then maybe just talk we'll play a game or something.
Yeah.
August 11th, 1989. This is one of the last slashers or like big horror movies of the 80s.
Mhm.
Directed by Stephen Hopkins. Stephen Hopkins made Predator 2. He made the Lost in Space
On
movie.
the strength of this movie,
Yeah.
he got Predator 2, believe it or not.
And I'm fairly certain he made one that I've always
Instead
really
of
liked
getting
a lot.
drummed out of Hollywood,
Yeah,
he got Predator 2.
he did. And he also, I believe, I could be wrong on this, I'm 90% sure he made The Ghost in the Darkness, which is, I think, a really good movie with Val
Yes.
Kilmer and Michael Douglas.
I haven't seen it in forever and forgot about it until you just mentioned it, but that is a good movie.
Yeah, good movie. So Stephen Hopkins has been around. Written by Leslie Bohem. Leslie Bohem was like, she did a lot of 90s disaster stuff. She did Daylight, remember it was Still in the Tunnel.
Oh, God.
And she did Dante's Peak, which is the volcano movie with James Bond and Sarah Connor. It was made. This movie was made for $8 million. This Nightmare on Elm Street film. It made $22 million. This is why these movies. We talked about it. This is why these movies keep coming back. And Patrick's right. Hopkins actually hates most of his own filmography. He does say
On board.
yeah, he does say that this movie was heavily, I guess like a lot of the, I don't know if you guys read this or not, but a lot of the kill scenes and violence had to be cut incredibly because this was originally going to get an X rating. I guess the Greta death scene and the Danny the motorcycle scene were heavily cut to get a R rating, which is crazy because they're pretty violent in this version. But
Right.
I can't imagine how much worse it would get. I know they said the kid.
Well, John, think about how violent the first ones were.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Nightmare 1, 2, 3, I've kind of... Yeah, no, dude, the fucking tendons.
Oh,
scene,
yeah, the kid. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's a lot. And you also need to keep in mind, I'm pretty sure this is around the time where Freddy was everywhere, like appearing on fucking MTV, and he had a fucking phone number you could call, probably had a serial. Like, very strange that they would come down this hard on Freddy when Freddy was pretty popular at this time, right? It's not like they were coming down on like some independent, like Serbian film type fucking movie. This is it's weird. I don't there's got to be a story behind it somewhere. I feel like somebody at the studio pissed off somebody at the MPAA or something. Like there's got to be a story back there because I don't know why they would have come down so hard on Freddy when Freddy was such a popular piece at that time. Or maybe was this around the time like no, this was after the whole fucking parental guidance on records and shit like that.
Yeah, this is a couple years after
this is all after that. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't.
But this was like the late 80s thing where like we talked about it during the Jason movies. This was a year or two after Jason Part 7, which was the other one with they had to keep sending that one back and the director hates how much they cut down all the violence in that movie. It felt like at the very end of the 80s, they were doing that to all the slasher movies. Like they were trying to fix them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Strange.
Eve dropped in. Eve, hello.
Hey,
Everybody out there, how you guys doing tonight? All right, so let's talk a little bit about this is essentially a direct sequel to the fourth movie, right? I mean, because we pick up with Alice, who was the Dream Master in the last film, and Danny, her boyfriend. They both made it through the last film.
Was Danny in the fourth movie? I didn't remember him at all.
He was remember they kept doing there was a scene with the loop
scene. Okay,
that was him. Yeah, that was him.
Far and away the best scene of that.
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to get into our ratings right now, but I want to feel out you guys for this at the moment because I feel a certain way. I feel like, and I know that I had not seen this one in many years. I think I saw this once when it came out.
Yeah, I think so too for me. I saw it like in the very early 90s, like I'm sure my dad and I rented it, and I think that's the only time I've seen this one and the next one.
First time for me.
Yeah,
and Larry's a first timer, but and we just did like obviously 3 is super popular, but me and Larry weren't fans. Stu is a fan.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are, dude.
Oh no, I know,
and I get it. I completely get it. It's the time. There you get the Dungeons and Dragons references, even though it's not really Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
It's the same thing. I get it. There is a coolness aspect to Dream Warriors. It just didn't do it for me, but I completely understand when people say they love it. I don't argue. I get
Yeah,
it.
I get it too. I know Eric Notkin's a big fan. Laura's a big fan.
Mhm.
I understand it. But what I wanted to feel out with you guys is I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be alone on an island. I thought this one was better than 4.
Ooh, you're on that island so
Really?
quickly. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not
Really?
on. I'm on a fuck. I'm way. You can't even see my island
Really?
from
Okay,
where you
Stu.
are.
Stu, no, yes, guys out there who recently watched it, Patrick or anybody, I think this was a better movie than 4.
It's hard to say. I don't remember 4 being particularly good. This one's rough. But I don't remember really liking 4 that much. So I think they're kind of just like,
Well, that's what I mean. Is I didn't like 4 very much either, but I think this one is the one that gets most of the fans' vitriol, and I think 4 is looked upon in a better light. And I got to say, I think this was a more enjoyable movie.
Well, Stu, just for shits and do you have you been keeping our
Yes.
ratings?
Yeah,
I was actually just checking. I do, based on my letterbox scores, I have this movie half a star worse than I had 4.
All right.
So
All
I
right.
do have 4 ahead of it, but not like substantially.
Let's before we give our ratings, let's give 4s too at the end, because I don't remember what I gave 4 either. but
Yeah, I want to
do-
hear them all.
Yeah,
now
now that Sean's saying this, I want to know what my own comparison is, because I don't remember what I gave 4 either. So I'm curious.
Do you want them now?
No,
no,
Okay.
let's wait. Let's
let's
wait.
wait.
Okay.
Yeah, this movie was strangely lacking in fun. Yeah, I just felt like the set pieces were better in this one.
Wait, John,
um,
you liked this one more than 4.
Yeah.
Okay, because you gave 4 a startlingly high score. So I'm very curious how high you have this movie.
5.
scored.
This is a
Really?
fucking 5.
Really? Okay. Well, okay. So maybe if my score for 4 was maybe a little inflated at the time, then maybe I'll give this an equal. We'll have to go to what the number was later on.
Yeah.
But I think this one, especially reading and doing the research on it, this is the one that most people consider to be the nadir, the low end of this series. And I just didn't feel that way. Like I said, the set pieces I thought were pretty interesting. Yeah, look, we got to understand something. Nightmare 1 is all by itself. Nightmare 2, despite like changing
It's,
to like
it's also all by itself.
it's all by itself, but
Yeah.
in a good regard for me.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
And then I don't know about 6, but then 3, 4, and 5 you could kind of put into like
It's its own story.
even such like the arc. It's like this is where we get Goofy Freddy, right? And I just felt like the Freddy stuff in this with like the with the nun and all that stuff. I think I was more invested in it. For sure. Yeah, I did like the karate fight in the last one. Oh, I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Invisible Freddy, that's right.
Oh, it was so stupid. Oh, so stupid. So this movie starts off very interestingly. There's a couple scenes. I can't remember what comes first, but there's a sex scene that
That's
look.
That is
that's
the very
open.
first scene.
And
Yes.
Sean, I don't want to interrupt you.
I know what you're gonna
But
say.
did you feel society like I couldn't make out any part? I'm like, I see body parts.
Yeah,
Are they
yeah.
shunting?
God
Is
damn
there
it, they're shunting.
going on? And it's all blue. And I'm like, I can't make out. I know these are body parts. Is that a stomach? Because it's the longest stomach I've ever seen. Like, I don't. Is that his shoulder? I'm not. I was so confused.
You just said what I was gonna say. I literally look. I have in my life done some sexual things. I've seen sexual things. I've
Sure.
never seen whatever they just showed us.
No.
There was at one point there was an ass, but then
Yeah.
there was tits above it somehow,
And then a shoulder.
and then a shoulder, and yeah. You said it.
It was
It's-
anatomically incorrect.
It was. There was
Yeah.
there was a point where it looked like an arm was sliding down along something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I knew people were doing it, but I just
Did you
didn't
think
know what they were
shunting?
doing.
Did you
I
think
I
knew
shunting?
people were
did.
doing it.
I
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
It's a tamer society scene. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It was
So
I
bizarre.
was like, I rewound. I felt like, because you never rewind porn, right? That's like gross. Like it's gross enough that you're watching porn, but
Don't
if you're actually
rewind
rewinding it to see something,
Yeah.
that's
Wait, I
kinda
missed
how
part of the story. I have to go back.
yeah. Oh God, yeah. Need to see if that guy was really gonna fix the copy machine. So yeah, I actually rewound a little bit. Felt weird about it, and I was just like, I just really need to try to make this out. Like I'm trying to figure out if this is a human body. Like I don't get it. I
Yeah.
couldn't put it together.
It was totally weird. It was totally
Yeah.
weird. And I didn't totally understand that it was a sex scene until it ends with them like kissing as if he had just done his business.
Right.
And
We learned later that I guess that was the conception.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is where Jacob, AKA, I knew it as I was watching this. I'm going, that's the kid from Jurassic Park, isn't it? The one that Alan Grant takes the raptor claw and scares. That actor.
Oh,
I looked it up.
okay.
Same kid. Those weird eyes.
Okay. Not
You know
the
the
main kid.
No, the kid in the
Yeah.
beginning where he's giving Alan Grant shit like he knows more about dinosaurs than this guy, and then he goes over and takes the raptor claw and
There
you
he's
know,
thinking really hard about this.
But who is he in the fucking Nightmare movie?
Jacob. He's
The kid.
the future
The-
kid.
The dream
Oh
child.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah, same kid.
Okay.
Which
How many kids did you see in this movie, Larry?
I know. Just that's why I was confused because he doesn't look like that kid in my head at all. But that's okay.
Well, he
So
grew
that-
up like 5 years in between.
Yeah.
Right.
That scene had all the passion of a Bene Gesserit arranged mating to conceive the Quiaz Haderach.
I
That's
don't even
a
know what
Dune.
those words are.
That's a Dune reference, by the way. The Dune Part 2 trailer came out today, and
Are
I'm
those
excited.
words?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bene Gesserit are like the nun women in Dune,
Ah,
and then I think the Kwisatz Haderach is what Paul Atreides is, but I've
I
never
thought
read
that was
the
the
books.
brand of shoe that Patrick was wearing the other night.
Yes, the pink Bene Gesserits that Patrick looked pretty hot in. Patrick
I
was
thought
looking
that was
good.
what you celebrate after Yom Kippur.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Kwisatz Haderach. Whatever.
When I first read it, I thought it said Shadrach, the Beastie Boys song. So immediately we get right into something's wrong again because as the last movie ended, Alice had controlled everything and Freddy couldn't come back. But as soon as after she gets her
Was
her
the end of the last movie? We take so long in between these. Was that
Yeah.
the one where Freddy's weakness was Mumra? He couldn't see his own reflection.
yes
Yeah,
yeah yep.
I didn't understand that weakness. I didn't understand why he was Mumra all of a sudden and couldn't stand his own reflection, and that killed him. That didn't seem like that was part of the mythos to that
Yeah.
point.
Right. And it wasn't used again in this movie, so
No. Yeah, you'd think you'd just show a mirror.
you'd
up,
think
like,
Alice would be like, "Oh, I know what to do.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. Here's a mirror. Fuck off, Freddy."
Yeah.
Why
Well,
go
well-
back to that?
The conceit of this film is that Dan has gotten Alice pregnant.
Yeah.
And even though Alice has some kind of mental block on Freddy, her unborn child does not. So
Right.
Freddy
Can we
is
talk
able.
about the shower scene real quick?
Yeah,
though?
let's talk about that weird shower scene.
Who's reaching into that drain? Who?
Yeah, like
I'm not.
if you're
Yeah.
taking a shower and all of a sudden poop starts shooting out of it,
Yeah.
You're not
don't
reaching
you
into
don't
that.
you move your? First of all, she didn't even move her feet out of the way of the poop, and then she just starts reaching into the poop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then-
agreed.
The worst case of body double syndrome I have ever seen in my life. It was as if they'd put like fucking Pamela Anderson, like circa 1986, in that fucking shower. Like when she's like behind, like in the water, like in the shower. I'm like, no, Alice, that's not Alice. Not
Yeah.
even by no stretch of the imagination is that Alice.
Yeah.
That's a fucking playmate, is what that is. in
Le-
there.
Lisa Wilcox is not an unattractive woman, but she's
Not
not,
at all.
who was in that shower.
No,
She
that
was
was
not who was
literally
in
a
that
Playboy
shower.
playmate. In that
I
shower.
thought the same thing. Like I've been in the shower before where it backs up and okay, you gotta, but I've never been in the shower before where diarrhea comes out of the drain. And she is so willing just to go military style
Yeah.
and stick her arm into that drain. She's
No,
totally
you get
okay
out.
with it.
You get out. You deal with that later.
Yeah.
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 Well, she got out, right? She broke through the window, and then she ends up in like the most unsanitary looking mental institution you'll ever see in your fucking life. Like, listen,
Well,
I
she
realize
ends
it's she
in
ran
the room with the 100 maniacs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is it's a mental institution.
Which I like
And
that
then-
the guy is counting.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
One,
It's like there's
yeah,
100.
two,
Don't worry.
and then he's like, "Oh, fuck it." Yeah, and I like the really unnoticeable cameo by fucking Robert Englund. The dude might as well have just stuck his face
He does.
Yeah.
He
right
goes all
into
the
the.
way up.
I'm like, come on, can
He
we?
wa- he walks by the camera and then he does like
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like really.
In case you were curious, which of the 100 maniacs actually impregnated Amanda Kruger?
Yeah. Yeah. I do think Stu was right though. Like I had laughed out loud at it as they're like the two guys that run the place are standing on like this balcony type thing, and there's just like a floor of all these, and they're not lined up.
No,
they're
they're
all
just
moving
milling about.
around.
They're all
They're
moving.
milling about, and he's going 1, 2, and then the guy says something to him. He goes, "You made me lose count. You're never going to count them all."
Even if you could count them, John. So their plan is they just leave them all standing around in that room over the weekend.
Yeah,
Like they don't have their own beds. There's no freaking own beds. There's no beds in that goddamn room. They're just like in a circular room. They're supposed to walk in a circle for like 2 straight days? Like,
free,
what's the plan?
free range, cruelty free maniacs. Yeah.
What is the plan with these people? The fucking unsanitary, fucking weird ass mental institution.
Union guys.
Yeah, it's not like it's, you've heard stories about like mental institutions in like the 1700s. This was like 1940 or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't that crazy. They weren't lobotomizing people with a coat hanger.
Well, and and not just that, but like the whole idea of okay, we're gonna count the maniacs. That's one of the things we do, but nobody makes sure that the nun on duty gets up in the room.
Why is she wandering around down there anyway?
Yeah.
What is the nun's purpose down there? Is she
And how do they
singularly
forget?
blessing all of the maniacs?
And how
Yeah.
do they forget? Obviously, if she's down there, they know she's down there. And they're like, hey, we better make sure the fucking nun's not down there before we let them walk around in circles for 2 straight days.
Yeah, so they
Stupidity.
they leave her there over the weekend.
Some great
and,
writing. That's just some great writing right there.
I already can see Larry's score for this movie coming.
They leave her there for the weekend, and unfortunately, the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs or whatever they call. This is how it
10,000.
happens.
No,
that's
just
a bad.
that one
Oh,
maniac.
that's a bad. My fault.
Just the one. After. No, this was she was before. And then she gives birth eventually to Freddy, but she gives birth, right? When she gives birth, is that like the alien scene where
Yeah, it's like it's like, what's happening? Why'd that just happen? And why is it so deformed? Because Freddy was a normal looking guy before he got burned.
That's what I thought too. Is like he got burned. He wasn't born burned. He
Yeah,
got
let's
burned.
go back to that writing team.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had giant feet too. It was really upsetting for me.
His
Like,
head.
why was Freddy Hank
Almost like a
McCoy when
rabbit.
he was born?
Almost like a rabbit, like just a giant like foot.
Yeah. Let's before we get too far into the Freddy stuff, I think one of the things we always go over on these episodes is who our cast, a gang of characters is. Did you guys find it weird that like if this is 1 year after 4, that like
Everybody's forgotten everything.
well, like Alice is all of her old friends are dead, and she has like a whole gang of new best friends,
He has a new clique.
a new clique, like in a year, and your other friends got killed. So
One of the girl was the bad driver from summer school.
Yeah, she was also I think like a base head in New Jack City. Yeah,
That's what it was. I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out what else it was. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, immediately summer school. Like you show me anyone from summer school, and I fucking know who it is. But I knew there was something else I knew her from, and I think you're right. She was like in the fucking with Pookie, like in the Enterprise or wherever they fucking beamed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that she was also
The
in
hotel.
The People Under the Stairs. I think I've never seen
Yes,
that.
she was good. Oh, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I've always heard it's good, and it's one of those ones I got to
Yeah.
get to.
It's
That
it's a really strange film for Craven. Like it never seems like a Wes Craven movie to me, but it's really uncomfortable and well done. It's a really good movie. You should check it out.
I will.
You know how everyone has their own little Mandela effects?
Yeah.
That movie is Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. I spent the last 20 years, I would have sworn to God that movie was called John Carpenter's The People Under the Stairs.
Oh, weird.
And I saw it. I saw it when it came out. And I swear to God, I spent like my entire life until just a few years ago. I looked it up and learned like, oh, it's Wes Craven's. I swear I thought it was John Carpenter's The
That's
People
crazy.
Under the Stairs.
Eve says it's really good. Eb says it's the least Craven film
Totally.
for sure. Is that
100%.
Is that one also kind of like an African American centric horror film? Okay.
Early Ving Rhames too.
All right.
Super early Ving Rhames. I don't remember the protagonist is a young black kid. I don't remember his name. Like I said, early Ving Rhames. Anybody else of note in it? Sean Whalen is in it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I think AJ Langer from My So-Called Life. I think she's like the main girl.
He used her in Escape from LA. She was the president's daughter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really, and just like Eb said, and like I said before, it's not a Craven movie. It's kind of odd, but it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's one I've been considering showing at the Strand for a while. I just don't know how I'll pair it.
Okay.
Is it less
interesting.
Craveny than Red Eye?
I
Red
don't.
Eye is very uncraveny.
I don't think
Well,
I saw Red Eye.
Oh, okay.
Red Eye was good. I would say
Mhm.
if you want to go super uncraveny Craven, like wasn't there that one he did where like Meryl Streep is like a violin teacher? Do you remember that? Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, like he just went
Mhm.
like full off book and said, "I'm not doing a horror thing at all. I'm
yeah.
doing like a
But
regular."
this is still horror. So I'm
Yeah.
saying like Craven horror. It's
Red Eye is worth
definitely-
watching. I'll watch
Yeah, Red Eye's
People
good.
Under the Stairs. There, you check out Red Eye.
Yeah, I will.
Killian Murphy is
Yeah.
plays
Oh,
because
I
at
love
that
him.
point,
I love
he
him
was
anyway.
known mostly, I think, for 28
28
Days
Days Later.
Later, and
Yeah.
he was the good guy. And in this, he's a fucking piece of
Yeah.
shit.
Hello,
really bad.
hello.
Rachel
Isn't that all he-
McAdams.
Isn't that all he did in 28 Days Later?
Oh,
Hello.
dude, he puts his thumb through a guy's eyes
I
at
do
the end of
remember
that. I love
I
that scene.
remember
I
that.
love that scene.
It's a
All
great.
right.
That's a great movie.
So we have the girl from People Under the Stairs. We have a comic book artist who is kind of like, he's like the punky kind of kid. They said initially they were going to make him a gothy kid, but they decided to go with like a heavy color scheme because of what his death scene would eventually be. Look, I got to say this as a comic reader and collector, this kid treats his books like shit.
They're like all over the floor.
They're all over the floor, dude. They're
Yeah,
all over the
bad.
floor.
But I like that he had real comics. Like they didn't just mock
did.
up some fake comics. Like I looked
Yeah.
at the comics and I was like, shit, I had that issue of Spectacular
I
Spider-Man.
did. I did
That's,
too. I was like,
that's
I was
the
like, I
introduction
still have.
of Karian too.
I was like, I have that X-Men. I was like, yeah, I had that Avengers. I was like, yep, got it.
Yeah, there
Got
was a
it.
Captain America that I think was one of the Bloodstone Hunt issues.
Nice.
I did like the fact that it seemed like there were actual real comics in there,
Yeah.
except for the one that he uses when he
Right,
looks
right,
at
right.
his death. So we got those two. We have the look. Let's just be honest. If this is the best looking girl in Springdale or whatever they call it,
Wood.
Springwood, the Greta, the supermodel, who's she's whatever. Okay. Her death scene's pretty good though. I'll give
Is
it
it?
that. I liked her. It's not. Well, we'll get to that at the
We'll
end.
get
but-
there. Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty good. So we got those three. Danny returns.
Yep.
And Dan's just hot, man. Let's just be
Oh,
honest.
he's a good-looking guy.
What a good-looking dude. He's got his
Yeah.
shirt off in that scene, and
I'd shunt with him.
yeah, and you know what the sad thing is that he's a good guy, right? He's gonna take Alice to he's less worried about his college football career, which is all his dad cares about,
Right.
and he just wants to go out and have a good time.
All right. Listen. Let's go back to the writing.
Yeah,
Graduation, when his dad's, introducing him to the football coach of some big school. Like it's graduation. It's
Yeah.
the last day of school. Wouldn't his scholarship or whatever school he's going to already be in place?
look, let's
That's how
have
this works.
let's have a conversation about their graduation period. Who
Oh, the
on
fucking
day-
weirdest graduation I've ever seen.
right, with a picture and why that guy got involved, but not just that. So like you said, why is that guy there at graduation to talk about this stuff? And also, why does Alice have a shift the night of her graduation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Like-
even like the night of, like minutes after her graduation.
She graduates and goes, I have to get to work.
Right.
It's like,
Well, first she graduates and then like falls asleep
yeah.
into a nightmare, and then like I'm not even sure how she fell asleep. I was like, hold on, wasn't she just standing up in the graduation ceremony, and then she just fell asleep into a fucking nightmare, and then she wakes up and she's in the diner. I'm like, hold on.
Her coworker
Writers.
hated her too.
I hate her too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hate her,
if
and I
I'm
only
manning
hate her
a
because
diner-
of the writers. I hate her because of the writers, not because
Yeah.
of her.
If I'm manning a diner for 2 hours because my coworker doesn't show up, that diner is closing for the day.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because she shows up at midnight, so she's 4 hours late. It's like, you know what? It's midnight. Just shut the fucking thing down. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Something I noticed myself, and then when I looked it up on IMDb, I saw that it was a error. Was when Alice graduates and she's talking to her friends before she talks to Dan, she's holding airplane tickets. When she walks over to talk to Dan, they're gone, and then he gives her the airplane tickets.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I
didn't-
noticed
didn't
it,
catch either. I didn't
and
catch it.
I looked up goofs, and it was on there. I do want
Wow.
to say this. I actually like that they brought her father back and addresses alcoholism. I did too, and one of the
Yeah.
reasons they brought him back is they killed him in part 4, but they cut the scene. So when they cut the scene, they were able to bring him back and to kind of address that whole thing, which I thought was pretty good. I agree. I did like that they brought him back, and it was the same actor. He didn't look familiar to me at first, but then I remembered. I don't remember much about
Yeah.
4. I don't remember much
Yeah.
about 4.
Yeah.
Is that the whole crew? Is that everybody?
The swimming friend, the one who lives in Springdale her entire life, but refuses to acknowledge that Freddy
That's
exists.
the girl from summer school.
That's the girl from
Oh,
summer school.
okay.
People, yeah. You're right. It's almost like she's the one that like nobody's heard of.
Well, that's
How
what I
does-
was saying before. None of these kids, the artist kid, Greta, the fucking model, like you're all from Springwood, but none of you know Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
Fucking 7,000 kids in this town have been killed by this guy. And not to mention the countless that were raped by him when he was actually alive.
yeah.
But none of you have heard of him.
And it's
you're,
not
and
like
you're all just like, you're crazy.
and
Crazy.
and I know they did a little bit of like extended time because when Nancy comes back in 3, she's a little bit older than she should be. But it's not like this is 30 years later. This is within
It's like
10 or 12
yeah.
years.
No,
Yeah.
this is within like 3 years of part 3. Like not that much
think
time
it's
has
like-
passed since Dream Warriors.
I was going to say, it's like 1 year since part 4,
Yeah.
so, which was maybe a year since part 3. So you're talking 2 years difference? Like,
Yeah, because Alice initially did. Wait.
Patricia
part-
Arquette was still in high school in part 4, except
Right.
it wasn't Patricia
Right.
Arquette anymore.
That's what I was going to ask. Was
Right,
the character Kristen or whatever was in? Right. Okay. All right. My sister, by the way, drops in and says, "I love that you all stopped to check out the comics on the floor."
Yeah, it
We're
was the
comic
most
guys.
important part of the movie for me.
It was. It kind of was. What does Patrick say here, real quick? Well, in my head, to be honest, in my headcanon, there is a Pennywise-like effect where people forget Freddy's massacres fairly quickly, but that is never really spelled out in the movies. Well,
kind of like a
Patrick,
Dairy Maine type.
yeah. Well, then Patrick, I would
Well, that
love
goes-
to
that
see
goes-
you write these movies.
Well, that
Oh,
goes
yeah.
directly against Freddy versus Jason, though, because that's the whole thing where if people forget Freddy, he can't ever come back.
Oh, right, yeah.
So you
Because
have
yeah,
to get
right,
Jason to do his bidding.
right.
God
Forgot all
damn
about
it.
that too.
Just
Forgot
blew
all
that
about
right
too.
out of the water, Stu.
Don't question me on Jason movie trivia.
Yeah, I
You
guess
can get me
not.
on the Nightmare movies, but when you
I'm not-
start throwing Jasons in there, I remember shit.
can we just go off on a real quick tangent for a second since we do that
What else
anyway?
can we do in this fucking discussion?
Well, can we all? I want to. Like, can we all just agree that no matter how much people shit on the Friday series as a whole, certain points, right? Like that we know there are great ones. 5. We know there are great ones. 2. We know that 1. You know, we know that there are some really good ones in there.
Yeah.
But like, let's just be honest. We've been doing this now this is the 18th episode. We started this in 2020. Friday the 13th is just a better series overall, right? Like Nightmare on Elm Street has like a peak 1 and 2, and then just kind of flutters off. Friday the 13th, at least every couple we get say, look, this was really good. Hey, Jason X is actually pretty good. So like, yeah, part 5, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's,
don't you people remember that John loves part 5?
Yeah, come on.
No, I agree. I think the Friday franchise is leaps and bounds ahead of the Nightmare franchise.
Yeah, because it just seems like, and again, I haven't seen 6, 7. I have seen the remake in the last couple of years. I haven't seen 6 or 7 in a long time, but we're kind of like
What's 7? 6?
New Nightmare.
the new Nightmare.
And
yeah.
6 is Freddy's Dead, right?
That's the
Yes.
one that has the 3D ending, if I remember.
And that's
correctly.
it, right? After this, we've just got 2. Yeah?
We have the remake too.
Okay. Oh, we're doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not
That's
going to
That's the one where Freddy's like, "You're in here with me."
do.
Sorry,
Yeah.
same actor,
Yeah.
different movie, whatever. Oh no, that's the one where he plays baseball and they go to Japan.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh
Kelly,
no,
Kelly
that's,
Leak.
That's
Kelly Leak.
All right.
Yeah. Jason all the way. Well, we got some split people here. Patrick says Team Freddy.
Patrick's a Freddy guy.
Eve says Jason all the way. Elm Street is just conceptually more interesting to me than anything in the Friday movies. Conceptually, you're absolutely
I buy
right.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can, and that's kind of what. While you guys were talking about it, I'm thinking like, Friday the 13th movie is just a fucking deformed guy who's hacking up kids, and then he becomes like a deformed zombie guy who's hacking up kids. There's not
That's
really
all I
much
want.
there. And if that's all you want, then you're fine, right? Give them 7 to 8 teenagers and a campground and you're good. Elm Street, there's conceptually a lot more there. There's it's a deeper, the Elm Street series is a deeper series, no doubt about it.
Patrick says,
Um,
"Mummy, not zombie." Larry.
my bad. My bad. Sorry, Patrick.
Forgot about that. Yes.
However, I prefer the Friday series myself.
Yeah, I think they're more fun overall. I think there's
I just
Well,
think the
I do love
quality's
one and
higher.
I love Nightmare 1 and 2. I said it, my scores, I believe I gave Nightmare 1 a 5 and 2 very close to it, if not a 5.
all right. I think
Love
this is
those
a
movies.
think this is a pretty good way to look at it. So, like, I think when we did Friday the 13th Part 1, which was so long ago at this point, it's a good movie, but it's not. It doesn't kick off until 2 really, and 2's a great slasher.
Mhm.
Okay? So we're kind of agreeing for the most part that Friday. You don't think 2's a great slasher, Larry?
Oh, no, choose my favorite one of the
Oh,
fucking
Yeah, I
okay.
was
I-
gonna
series.
say Larry gave
No.
2 a 5. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
choose my
yeah.
favorite of the whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 is that I know I always say 5, and I do enjoy 5, but 2 truly is the best of those movies. But do we think? I think this is an interesting question. We all love Nightmare 1? Is Nightmare 1 better than any of the Friday the 13th movies? Because that's very possible. Nightmare 1 is fucking great. It's a
It
great
is.
horror movie. It's scary. It's gross. It's got Johnny Depp in a shirt that comes
Does
up to
have
here.
Johnny Depp in a half shirt.
Yeah, like no, I don't know if it's half. It comes up to here.
It's
The
a
shirt
quarter
literally
shirt.
comes across here. It's
It's
just,
just sleeves.
you know
It's
what it
just
is?
sleeves.
It's just Kermit the Frog, that weird collar thing he has. That's all he's wearing.
You know what I think? I would argue Nightmare 1 is better than any of the Jason movies, but I would watch Jason 2 or Jason 6 in a heartbeat over Nightmare 1. I like them more. I prefer them more, but I think between the concept and Robert Englund's performance and what you can do with it and the effects, the effects in Nightmare 1, I think it's an objectively better movie, but I would rather watch Jason 6 or Jason 2 all day.
Your sister, John, is 100% right. Friday the 13th, especially 1 and 2, are scarier than any in the Elm Street.
Not
To me.
one.
To me, it is.
Nightmare
Those-
1 is fucking scary, man.
Nightmare 1, I remember watching them when I was a kid. I was never scared of Freddy like I was of Jason.
You weren't scared of Long
you know
Arm
why?
Freddy?
No, you
Come
know
on.
why?
Oh, dude.
I'll tell you why. And it's, again, your sister touched on it. Elm Street is supernatural freaky. It's almost unbelievable to me. Whereas this Jason guy, that can happen. I can be in a fucking woods and this fucking deformed guy can come hack me and my friends up. That's what scares me. It has always scared me about horror movies, is things that are potentially true, things that could really happen. That's why Home Invasion to me is the scariest type of horror movie, because somebody can come into my house at any fucking moment.
I
But-
have a home.
Yeah, I mean, like, that shit can really happen. Whereas, like, society, no, I don't think the shunting is real. Like, so I'm not gonna be scared. I'm not gonna be scared of that. I'm not scared of the robots in shopping mall.
Larry's
Like-
not scared of the stuff.
Definitely not. Yeah, good call. Definitely not scared of the stuff.
Look.
Love the movie.
Larry's not
So-
scared of the stuff, but he's frightened of the taste, right? Was that what it was called at the end? The
Yes,
stuff they made out of
I
this
think
stuff?
So Friday to me has always been scarier than Nightmare on Elm Street, because it's more believable. Until the lightning brings him back and all that jazz. But like when he's literally just like a deformed guy in the woods, it's close to home. That could fucking happen. Dude, I grew up in Bridgeport. There's a lot of deformed people that do a lot of crazy shit. So-
I need to jump in and clarify here. Multiple deformed people in the woods.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Let's not forget
right.
Stu's. Let's
Stu's
not forget
theory.
Stu's theories about Jason.
Stu's not wrong. They all look completely different. He had almost a full head, a half head of hair in part 2, and then he's completely bald the day later in part
Yeah.
3. So
Yeah, he's like husky in part 2, and then
Yeah.
in part 3 he's like this like kind of like tall slender guy in workman's clothes. Yeah, no, there's Stu very possibly could be right about there being multiple Jasons.
right, I'm not arguing with Stu anymore, because number one, I know it's pointless. So, and number two, he looks different in every fucking movie. But Nightmare could be a better movie as a movie.
Yeah.
I prefer Friday Part 2, but I can't argue with somebody who says Nightmare on Elm Street is a better movie. I can't argue.
You know what it was when we did Nightmare Part 1, a couple things, because I had seen it maybe
It's great.
It is great. And again, Nancy is such a good final girl. She is maybe the best final girl ever.
Ginny.
Even who?
Ginny, part 2.
Just I see
I love
Ginny.
Ginny.
Ginny pisses her pants under the bed.
She did piss her pants.
Ginny
You wouldn't piss your pants if the big fucking mongoloid was on top of the
I
fucking
would-
thing
I
with
would-
a
She
pitchfork
doesn't piss her pants because of Jason. She pisses her pants because of a rat.
because of the rat. That's
Right.
true.
Ginny
forgot.
pisses her pants, and Nancy sets up her house like home a fucking
She
alone.
does go home alone.
She goes
does.
home alone.
She puts
Grant-
gunpowder in the light
I
bulbs.
was gonna say I still don't know how the light bulb blew up. I still don't
Yeah.
understand the science. And I'm a grown ass man. I don't understand the science. She's like a 16-year-old kid making light bulb bombs.
Okay, all right. Patrick's getting technical on us. She's not really a final girl in part 2 because she's not alone.
Paul,
Paul, there's someone in the fucking room. One of the greatest scenes of all time. All right, let's jump back into Nightmare 5. I know we
Okay.
have to do this. So this is the group of friends, and we find out that eventually we're going to find out that Alice is
I
pregnant.
love that we're
with-
still at the beginning.
well, we're gonna speed it up. We're gonna speed it up. Alice starts to have these moments where she starts to realize Freddy's coming back, and she tells everybody. She tells Dan, and even though Dan dealt with Freddy in part 4, he's just like, "Nah, that's not possible." And I'm like, "Come on, Dan. If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Ginny." Miles Davis. So eventually, we end up at a graduation party in a Olympic-sized pool. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a good time to me. Dan's just hanging out looking good with no shirt on, by the way, just kind of laying back. And he gets a call from Alice who says, Freddy's back. And Dan takes off I think he's in a truck, right? This scene kind of confused me because I think
Was he on a motorcycle?
well, he
It
wasn't
starts
really.
off in a truck.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
He's always in a truck though, right? Because isn't this one of those like it's like Inception. There's
Yeah.
4 dreams happening deep. So he gets in a truck, and as he's going, all of a sudden Freddy becomes the radio and is like, "I'm gonna kill your girlfriend, bitch."
Oh, yeah.
My wife Lindsay pointed out that I think he might say bitch
He
in
says
this one.
fish like a million times in this fucking movie.
One of the funniest scenes in this movie. One of the funniest scenes in this movie is there's a scene a little bit after what we're talking about where not Nancy, Alice goes into the fridge and she's seeing Greta's death scene in the fridge, and she's fighting, and like Freddy's like I think in there, and there's a note on the door in marker that says "Die, bitch." Like it's just in the background, but I laughed at it.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right. Like
And
the
it's
girl's
being
sleep
held
diving.
up by a Freddy refrigerator magnet.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I just
Oh,
noticed
was
the
it?
note.
I didn't notice.
So Dan is now falling asleep while driving,
Like
and
you do.
I think he crashes the truck in his dream. So he gets out of it, and then he finds like a souped up little rocket. He
Well,
gets
he
on
gets
it.
out of the wrecked truck from his dream, and he's back at the pool at the school.
Okay,
And he goes out to get back in his truck, but he sees his truck is broken, and then he sees the motorcycle next to the truck.
gets on the motorcycle, and then as he's driving, 150 miles an hour, the motorcycle becomes Robo Freddy, and starts to talk to him. And then eventually, like the Borg do in, seem like the Borg, if you're a Star Trek Next Generation fan, the bike starts to assimilate him. I gotta be honest, I thought this was a pretty cool scene. He's getting like tubes down his arms, and Freddy's making all the jokes. Now you're fuel injected, bitch, and stuff like that. But then when Dan actually dies, he's still in the truck.
Yes.
He crashes into another truck, and it's right outside of Alice's work. She runs out to this accident site. A guy dressed like Freddy, he was supposed to be dressed like Freddy, gets out of the car and is like,
he's at least supposed to look like Freddy, but he's clearly not Freddy.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why.
"Die, bitch." I can hear that in Jesse's voice. Yeah. Jesse, my favorite Jesse thing in all of Breaking Bad was in the last season when they do this big heist and they use magnets, and he
Yes.
goes, "Magnets, bitch."
They're arguing about how to get the thing, and he's like, "Yo, what about a magnet?" My
So-
wife and I say that to each other all the time. "Yo, what about a magnet?"
So this is how Dan dies, and obviously Alice faints away. She ends up in the hospital, and she finds out that she's pregnant. Dan did that shunting worked. In the beginning, that very weird sex scene with hands all over things, and as cool as it looks, it is pointlessly convoluted scene by switching from truck to cycle. No, you're right. It confused me a little bit. so she finds out she's pregnant, and she immediately becomes obsessed with. It seems like I thought Alice realized that Freddy was using the baby to do all this because she's so concerned about whether it's dreaming or not, but she doesn't really realize it till the end of the movie. I was so did she just think Freddy was going to get the baby? Is that what she was afraid of?
Writers, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I was confused by that.
Yes, it's very confusing.
Yeah, it
This
seemed
whole movie is
obvious
confusing.
it seemed obvious that when the baby was dreaming, it was summoning Freddy. So how did she not pick up on that?
Right.
I
Right.
don't know.
She knew she wasn't dreaming, right? So how else is he getting there?
Yeah,
Fucking stupid. And she, like John said, she's asking the doctor questions about do babies dream and blah blah blah. And the doctor's like, yeah, like 70% of the time they're sleeping and dreaming. Okay, so didn't you just put this together? What do you mean you don't figure this out for another hour? Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because she figures out at the very end. I got to bring up a scene because I have a feeling I don't do the notes like Stu. I just kind of try to go by feel. I got to bring up a scene that I just thought was very bizarre in this film. Is a little bit after Dan dies and a little bit after where we start to lose some of the friends. There, we suddenly get like what would be like almost like a courtroom drama between the grandparents and Alice over who was going to have
yeah,
keep
custody
the
of the
kid.
child.
That scene added nothing to this movie
No.
and
No.
took like 5 or 6 minutes to get through.
Yeah.
Right. So like she comes downstairs and her father's like, "Oh, you've got some visitors," and it turns out it's
It's like
Dan's.
fake Carol Brady and
Yeah, it's Dan's
Yeah.
dad and mom, and
Yeah.
they're both like, "Look, we're here to lend support, and we're so sorry this happened, and Dan's gone and everything, and but we have to make it clear that we don't know if we think that you're like capable of taking care of this kid, so we're going to adopt it." And we want to adopt it and we want to make it our own. And for like 5 or 6 minutes, we're watching like Kramer versus Kramer in the middle of a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5.
for no reason at all. Like there's no
These writers that Larry keep lamenting, they were writing that scene and they were like, I'm gonna get an Oscar for this.
oh,
Yeah, like Patrick just says here, and I'm glad he said the final sentence here because I like that scene actually. I like that Dan's parents weren't assholes. That's true. They weren't written poorly, but it just didn't really belong in this movie because it just seems to come out of nowhere. It just seems to come out of nowhere.
All right.
Yeah,
They're like, God,
pro-lifers.
we need an extra 5 minutes. What do we do?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
I got an
introduce
idea.
let's introduce the grandparents.
Yeah.
Who?
Let's start a custody battle.
Yeah.
All right.
So now the kids start to understand that this is going around and going around. Yeah, no, I agree with that, Eve. It does show that her father has changed because they did. Again, I do think that was a good move where they actually like went through with that, where the father is not an alcoholic because the father was a fuck in the fourth movie.
Yeah,
He was a total bastard. And I actually liked the line where he said he was hoping it was a boy because he'd like to hear a boy because it harkens back to the brother we all forgot about that got karate chopped by Invisible Freddy, right? This movie feels like a bad imitation.
Holy
of Bernard
crap! What is going on?
Rose. What?
Larry, look over your left shoulder.
What's happening? Oh, good lord. Good lord.
I was like, shit, Ghostface is about to get Larry.
See, this can happen. My goodness, this is what I got to deal with in this house. If he's not dressed up like that, he's dressed up like Sam from Trick or Treat. Like every time I
Oh,
turn
he needs
around.
to dress up like Sam next time. Oh, I thought he was doing the head tilt for a second there.
oh yeah. Okay, let me mute so Owen say goodnight.
All right. Good night, Owen.
I know, and
All right, Stu, let's jump over to real quick while Larry is getting ready. Let's jump over to Greta's death scene. So she's in this very bizarre, like, how long's her table? What's going on, right? It doesn't even seem like she
Yeah.
has a dad, right? It's just her mom and her.
This is one of those things where very early on in the movie, just like in part 4, they set up all the character tropes so that you know how these characters are going to die.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, here's the anorexic one with the stern mother. And I forget if Yvonne even dies, but they set up like, she's a swimmer. She loves to swim. And here's the comic book guy. And it's like, okay, the movie's just telling you like what kind of ironic deaths all these characters are getting. And she's the first one to get one.
Yeah. And Yvonne, by the way, not only doesn't die, she actually like saves the day because she finds eventually we'll get into it, but she finds the body of Amanda Kruger. So she's actually kind of the hero of the whole thing.
Right.
So did you think I never heard of Paper House. Everybody's bringing up Paper House. I've heard of Candyman.
It's a good movie.
I've heard of Candyman. So now I got to write down Paper House, People Under the Stairs, all P
Yep.
movies. Give me more P movies that
Sure.
can go in that line. So Greta starts to fall asleep during her terrible modeling career, I guess, dinner. And the mother says, something along the lines of like, we starve ourselves all the time so we can do things like this and, enjoy the, time with the society. And show me the P movies. Yeah. I know what category that is in Pornhub. I will find it. Don't worry. So she's sitting there and she falls asleep.
As one does at a dinner party.
What was it? Robert Englund as before she falls asleep. I think Robert Englund was also the guy serving the food
Oh,
because I think
he?
they showed his face a little bit real quick.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
This.
So,
I just know he was a chef, and a Freddy chef in this movie.
Yeah. And he just starts to jam different food. Yeah, he was the waiter. Thank you. Different food in her mouth, and we get this like I thought it was a pretty cool practical effect of like the cheeks, and it was pretty gross. Her mouth looked like a butthole essentially, and all this stuff is coming out of it.
It was very society-esque, actually.
It actually was. You're right.
Yes.
You're right. And what would have made that shower scene earlier in this film more society-esque is if when they showed Pamela Anderson, if her ass was in the front, what was that in society?
Their fucking body was turned around the wrong way.
So Greta ends up getting killed. She, I don't know, gets herself through the fridge because I think this is Alice is dreaming as well. Is Alice dreaming or the baby's dreaming? When
one
Greta
of them.
Who the fuck knows, John?
All right, I don't know if I like this more than 4 now. That
I feel bad. We're talking poor John down. We couldn't talk
Greta
you down
choked,
on
right? She choked. Is that how she actually?
Greta, yeah, because then she gets up and she's like like she's being held from behind.
But you realize that that's not how choking works, right? She's clearly like, and then she dies. Like no, she's getting air.
Yeah.
That's not how choking works at all. Writers, this is not how choking works. Choking, you're not making any sound at all because there's no air.
Right. Yeah,
Writers.
the baby is dreaming. This is what confuses the characters because Alice is awake. No, you're right.
We somehow couldn't talk you down on Jason Part 5, but we're talking you down on Freddy Part 5.
I will watch Jason Part 5 all the time. I still love to watch it. I watched it last Halloween time. The whole month of October, we did nothing but like horror movies.
Nothing but Jason Part 5.
Well, no, but I had not watched any of the Jason films since we did them, and we ended them like a year prior. And I watched 2, 5, 7, and maybe Jason X, but I watched several of them. The ones that I enjoy watching, or maybe 3, because I like 3 as well.
Do you know the redneck mother just died?
Yes, I saw that.
I saw that.
Was her name Ethel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Great actress because I couldn't fucking stand her character in that movie.
Right.
You love my stew, don't you? Just chopping up. I love that scene. We talked about it before, but I love that scene because she's chopping up the food. It's easily like 8:00 at night, and she's like, "You love my stew. I'm going to make it for dinner." It's like a stew's going to take like 2 or 3 hours. Like, nobody has this time.
Stew quick. That's not a soup. You can get a soup done in 20 minutes if you have to.
We have to talk about this right now because
soups and stews.
No. The comment that Patrick just made. 3-way battle of maligned films: Jason 5, Freddy 5, and Michael Myers 5. I know John knows which one I choose.
Yeah, you choose
for what? The best of those 3?
The best of those 3.
Friday,
and
5.
we're talking New Beginning,
Halloween
Dream
5,
Child, and Dream Child.
Yeah.
It's Friday 5.
I was gonna say we know John's taking Friday 5. We know I'm taking.
Look,
Halloween
John's
5.
like confused by this question.
Well,
like,
because
wait, guys, like, why is this even a topic?
because
they're all shit, John.
No. Friday 5 is
Friday
very
5's
good.
Shit. No, it's shit.
Here's my sliding scale. Okay, Friday 5.
Yeah,
I'm honestly probably gonna say this one, and then Halloween 5 is fucking trash. Like we already went over this a few months ago. But it's not good.
I believe you'll find if you re-listen to that episode, Bruno Mars himself guest starred to tell you that Halloween 5 is a treasure.
Bruno Mars came on and said that?
Bruno Mars came on that episode
Yeah.
to let you know that Halloween 5 is a treasure.
We did a trash treasure tolerable episode,
Yep.
and trash tolerable treasure, and when Stu gave his rating, he had it lined up the Bruno Mars song Treasure, which, and I gave that movie a trash, by the way. Eb says Friday, she's with me. Friday, Nightmare, and no comment on Halloween.
Halloween 5 is bad, but God, man, that's a. Which one of those is the best? What? It's not the Dream Child. It's not the Dream Child. God, Seed of Chucky. I don't even remember. I don't know if I ever saw that.
I think I saw the
ever...
first two.
Yeah, it's probably. I might have seen 3. I don't. I own them all, but I don't know.
I saw the reboot, and I actually kind of liked the reboot.
Yeah, it was different. I like the way they went with that. I thought it was interesting. So basically, I'm choosing between what's better between Friday 5 and Halloween 5. Oh God!
Come on, dude! You don't hate Friday 5 that much. You're just saying it because you.
Danielle Harris.
You're
Danielle
fucking with
Harris.
Me. You're fucking with me at this point. Come on, you gotta like Friday 5. It's got the twist of it not being Jason.
Peak crazy Loomis.
I gotta go Friday 5.
Yeah,
I do. Halloween 5. I'm just trying in my head. Because I prefer Michael Myers. Michael Myers is my number one guy. But God, that's a bad. Especially when those 2 cops come and you get like the fucking. I was like, oh fuck,
yeah,
come on.
That's not great.
Like,
that's not great.
Who decided? Who was in the fucking editing room? Who was like, hey, I got an idea. Let's
Stu,
these cops walk.
Was that the one, Stu, where they end up at the I know we did a movie where this happened, where they end up at like a party in like a farmhouse and there's like an old lady sitting in the okay.
Just sitting in the party, yeah.
And
there are kittens and the kittens survive. What more could you want from a
survive.
Horror movie?
Don't forget Giant Cookie Woman as well.
Giant Cookie Woman.
Giant Cookie Woman.
Halloween 4 is not that good. Halloween 5 is worse, but still better than Dream Child. Yeah, so Larry, I think pre-pandemic showed Halloween 4 and 5, or maybe after the pre-pandemic. And I had not seen Halloween 4 in a long time. And I remember going to it and watching Halloween 4 and being like actually kind of surprised at the fact that it was better than I would have remembered or thought it was. And I know now, like knowing a little bit more, that it's kind of regarded that way. So then when Halloween 5 comes after the raffle and everything, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And within 20 minutes, I was like struggling to stay awake. And it wasn't just because I struggled to stay awake. It was because that movie was so fucking bad that I just couldn't stand.
Four is not even very good. 4 for me is really, it's a nostalgia thing because, it came out in 88. So I was like 14, 15 years old when it came out and Michael Myers was finally back. And so being that age, having Michael come back, they literally could have put him on the screen just shitting in a bucket for an hour and a half, and I would have been I'd have been set. I'd have been like, yeah, get fucking shit in that bucket, Michael. So, but looking back, like, now I realize, no, this is not. And the worst mask possible. Like,
it is
what
a
did
rough
you guys,
mask.
what did you guys do? Like, what, like who was in the set department who's like, got it? No,
what if we slick his hair back?
Was that 4 or 5?
4.
And then you get the one scene where it's like fucking bleach blonde, like outside. Like what was that? So bad.
Yeah,
but
because
definitely better than 5.
Isn't there in Halloween H2O? Isn't there like one scene where Michael Myers' mask is CGI?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember reading about that and then watching it a couple years ago.
Oh, God.
And it was blatantly, it was stark. It was like, whoa, why did they do that?
I know that. Do you
know
why
there's 100%. Like they use 3 or 4 different masks in Halloween H2O, and one of them is CGI. And to be fair, I've never noticed it.
Oh.
But I'm supposed to rewatch H2O to be on a podcast soon, so I'll keep a closer eye out for it.
4 was
Brian. That's the end
of
5.
5.
End of 5.
5 going into 6, which this is many months ahead of time, but we will be doing 6. Stu and I will be doing 6 as a triple T. Because that's another one that is kind of known
Cult of Thorn.
Yeah.
I have Cult of Thorn socks, actually.
You have a tattoo. You have a tattoo.
No, I do not. But
I thought you had one.
No, I have a friend who has a Cult of Thorn tattoo.
Oh, okay.
I don't have one. No,
I
no,
did.
no.
I did Michael Myers as a Halloween costume in one year, and for my costume, I did the Cult of Thorn. So I did like
There you
the
go.
worst version of Michael Myers.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. At least you get Paul Rudd in that movie. So
64
there's
minutes
no
into
way
this
that.
chat, and we're still on the first. Yes, we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, it's been a while, Patrick. We got to get back into it. We got to get back into it. All right. So
We're talking about better
Let's
movies,
go.
Patrick.
Let's go.
we did 2 kills. All right. So we're moving in. Freddy is kind of jumping in and out, and Alice starts to see this kid while she's in the hospital. Again, this is a representation of her child. She doesn't figure this out because nobody else sees this kid.
Right.
But this Jacob is a future version of her child. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. You can't rush these things. We got to work it out in our heads. Plus, we are talking about Nightmare 5, so you need a little padding. You need a little padding with Nightmare 5.
A lot of padding.
Does Mark, the comic book kid, does he live in his dad's warehouse?
I don't know.
Is his bedroom inside of his dad's warehouse? Because
All I know is at one point he slipped into an Aha video.
I was gonna say, yeah, they were very influenced
Yeah.
by Take on Me. for this.
Take on
see,
me.
I this is now I'm not gonna play my cards for favorite kill because it isn't. But I like that whole comic book scene. You guys didn't like?
I don't
it?
even on it, dude. I just watched it 2 days ago, and I don't even remember how he got killed. I just remember he was in Take on Me, and I don't know what happened after that.
And he become the other, Freddy becomes Super Freddy.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
that's right. He was like all jacked and weird looking.
Oh, he cuts him up into like one-dimensional pieces, like he's
Yep, now I
slipping
remember.
paper.
So what
right.
happens is Alice goes over to Mark's weird warehouse bedroom.
Yeah.
And she says the line that in every Nightmare movie we know is not going to work. She says, "I'm going to go to sleep to find Freddy. Stay awake and watch me."
Yeah.
And as we know, as Glenn in Johnny Depp in Part 1 proved, he's the. I love when Nancy like jacks him up. She's like, "Glenn, you motherfucker, listen to me. You better listen to me, motherfucker, because you fucked
And
up
he's
twice
like,
so
look
far."
at my half shirt.
It's up to here.
Yeah.
So Larry, I think Larry is over this movie. I actually think he is over this movie. So she tells him, so he lays on his floor with his comics all over the fucking place like a slob.
over.
And he's
No
reading
fucking backing at all. No bag.
nothing. He's reading Defenders 26 or something. And he, of course, dozes off. So Alice is in the dream world, and she's in like some kind of like gothic castle-y. It's supposed to be the insane asylum, but I think in the dream world,
I think it's Wayne Manor. I think they were in Wayne Manor.
She's at stately Wayne Manor, and she's looking for the Bat Cave.
Yeah.
The idea is she figures out that we've got to find Amanda Kruger's bones because Freddy. Every time Amanda Kruger gets brought up, Freddy's like,
He's scared of her.
I gotta go this way. Like he's afraid of her.
No, we have no explanation as to why. But
Nope.
No.
whatever.
She's a nun. She has Jesus power. I don't know.
Does she?
She's made of mirrors.
She's
Well, I mean,
not.
is
I
it
wish she
because
was.
is it because she's his mother? Is it like just there's that?
She
that
gonna
thing?
spank him.
I don't know. Maybe that's also a channel
Send him
on
to his
Pornhub.
room.
Yeah, send him to his room, spank him. So Mark falls asleep and ends up in this all black and white room.
Take on me.
He does become Aha video and gets sucked into the comic book. And it's the comic book, by the way, he finds in his collection that's like everything that's happened in the movie so far. You see the big head little
Oh, that's
Freddy
right, yeah.
baby. You see the motorcycle scene.
Motorcycle.
He gets sucked into it. And Mark has earlier in the movie we see he's a comic artist. And he's essentially an early 90s character comic artist because it's all guns and, like the
Nobody
Phantom.
has feet.
Nobody has feet. He probably has 6 belts around his chest with ammo in it. There is no, let me see here. What does he say? There's no explanation for why Amanda's bones are no longer in the gravesite we saw in part 3. Fuck, I don't even remember that, Patrick. So
There was a gravesite.
good on you. Good
Yeah,
on
I don't
you.
remember.
Yeah, Patrick says it here. I like the look where everything else was gray, but it just looks very cheap and silly when he turns paper. Yes, I did like when everything turns gray. I also like when Freddy, I do like the scene where he becomes his character, the Phantom, whatever, and he's shooting Freddy, and like it's kind of like the bullets are hitting Freddy, and it's almost like paper is shooting out of him. I like the idea because it seemed to me like that
Dream-
room.
Okay, I was gonna say like Dream Warriors-esque, like he discovered his power
yeah.
type.
Right.
But he didn't require any of the training that the Dream Warriors did.
True.
Like they had to go through like a meeting session on how to become the Dream Warriors. This kid's like a
Yes.
fucking savant. He just picks it up.
Well, it doesn't last long.
It doesn't work.
Last long.
He shoots Freddy a few times, and then Freddy becomes Super Freddy.
Yeah.
And he just destroys him, turns him into a 2-dimensional paper cutout, and in the cut version, which I guess they said you can't, like, I guess New Line put them out on DVD and Laserdisc back in the 80s and 90s or the 90s, but now like all the cut deaths are hard to find. You could see snippets of it on the, what is the documentary called? Never Sleep Again or
Never
something
Sleep
like that.
Again. Yeah.
So there's snippets of it in there, but in the original version, what they had to cut out was Freddy chops him up, and you see pieces of the paper getting chopped up. And in the cut version, he cuts his head off.
Wow.
And they show him when he comes back to the real world. You see his head roll off. Here you don't. You just see his last act of shittiness to his comic books is his bloody body lands on all of his comic books. So Mark does suck. I think Patrick, Mark is a Mary Sue. He's the Ray of Elm Street. Patrick really hates Mark.
Yeah, not a fan.
Never Sleep Again is a better doc than Crystal Lake Memories. I've never watched Crystal Lake Memories because it's 9 hours long, and I just don't have that amount of time. Maybe if I broke it up like an hour a night or something, and I'm sure it's good. I
watched it over the span of like 2 or 3 days, like in the background while I was work from home.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it's all stuff that Larry pretty much told us during the series that when we were doing the movies.
Yeah.
Larry's
like I got mad at the director trying to defend Part 9 again.
Yeah, stop it, dude.
Oh, right. I do remember when we did that, I watched the interview with him, and I was impressed by him trying so hard to defend it. But yeah, if I had to go back and rewatch all of the Friday movies, but you said to me you could skip one, I would skip 9.
Oh, yeah.
That was easily the worst of all those.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot because some of those are really fucking bad.
Mark's head fell off while reading comics. Coroners ruled it natural causes. So we get Yvonne. She is in the pool, and I don't know. She's falling asleep in the pool.
Wait, I want to
one does
something out there because I have the movie playing in the background here, and I am just getting to the scene where Mark gets sucked into the comic because he's reading the comic based on the movie we're watching it. He's reading it backwards like it's a manga.
It's a manga, man.
Yeah, he's going backwards, and like the story is progressing as he's reading it.
Oh God.
Mark has dyslexia. We'll talk about that later. He has some kind of learning disorder. Stu, don't bring it up. He's very He's very sensitive. He's very sensitive about it. I did also like when he gets killed in the black and white room because his clothes were all very like brightly colored, that like the paint all ran out at the bottom. If you remember that.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's a cool effect. Cool. I don't think that the effects in this one are bad at all.
No, I don't like them.
You didn't like them?
I disagree. I think the effects for the most part are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Dude, the motorcycle death scene was pretty good. You didn't think so?
It was all right.
Compare that to when Alice opens the fridge and the food rots, like it's the Sledgehammer Peter Gabriel video. And
see, but to me,
when she's
that
getting
felt...
the sonogram and has like the electrical energy.
Yeah, stop motion shit, like, and it didn't look good. Like, and I'm very surprised. First of all, like, if you look at the credits, there's like 742 special effects people who worked on this fucking movie, and one of them's KMB, fucking Greg Nicotero and his group. They must have done something small for a small amount of money because it didn't look good to me. I thought it was far and away the worst effects of any of the. The only thing worse I can think of in this series is the fucking oatmeal steps in part 1, and when the mother gets pulled through the window. Other than that,
oh yeah,
yeah. Like
now,
other than that,
I just think it's funny that you say oatmeal steps because I always thought those were the marshmallow steps.
Maybe that's what I meant to say. I'm tired. This movie makes me tired.
What is Patrick says this movie has more naturalistic lighting and look than Dream Warriors and Dream Master for some weird reason, and that emphasizes the fakeness of the makeup. All right.
Sounds plausible.
All right. Well, let's lead into the final battle here. Yvonne manages to survive her I guess encounter with Freddy while she's on the diving board. It again, as Stu said, it becomes Peter Gabriel Sledgehammer. It starts to close in on her. Excuse me. She dives into the pool, and then she ends up waking up in the sauna or the jacuzzi. So her and Alice again go back into the dream world, I believe. And Alice tells, no, not in the dream world, in the real world. Alice tells Yvonne to go find Amanda Kruger's bones.
Yeah.
And she says you have to go to that old sanitarium.
You
and,
have to walk up to that green screen over there.
Yeah,
And
walk
it's
up
going
the
to have a
green screen.
picture of a giant asylum with 8,000 rooms.
You see that matte painting over there? Go walk up to it and into it. So she goes. She gets a giant like a crowbar, and she starts breaking down a wall. And she eventually finds the body of a nun, kind of kneeling in a corner. And she goes to touch it, and it just like comes alive and says "thank you," and disappears. It does the Obi-Wan Kenobi. She steps on the dress like Darth Vader does to see if still in there. Meanwhile, Alice is taking on Freddy throughout the halls of this place. She uses a giant stroller that looks like it's a Mad Max stroller. It looks like something from the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
And she runs him through with it.
I thought it was Burton-esque, like very Tim Burton-esque.
Yeah.
It looked like the stroller version of the wheelchair from Dream Warriors.
I'm trying to remember the wheelchair.
Oh yeah, now that I do the
the wizard
when he was
kid.
this wizard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good call.
By the might of Gilgamesh or whatever he says. Yeah.
Whatever.
I remember
Fuck
that.
that kid too. Sorry.
So Stu, do you remember what she determines is the key to defeating Freddy? I know at one point the kid, she starts to give birth to Freddy, right? Like Freddy starts to come through her. They start to split apart, I believe.
Maybe? I don't recall.
Yeah.
I'm not there. So I don't remember that. The ending of this movie, I just have like, there's an MC Escher house that they run around.
There is an MC Escher
There
house.
is MC Escher house, yeah.
So yeah, they're fighting. Her and Freddy are fighting, and Jacob is just hanging out watching with his weird ass eyes.
That's a weird looking kid.
Yeah,
Jacob has to choose.
And the nun is like, she's not gonna she can't beat Freddy. Like, you need to help her. And he spits a snake. He spits a snake at Freddy, which I think is like the souls, right? Because what was happening was Freddy was invading his dreams and feeding unborn Jacob the souls of the kids that he was killing.
Yeah.
So I think
I didn't even get that.
yeah. So I think what Jacob spit
that was
on
in the
Freddy
sonogram scene. Like, yeah, it's not even ambiguous.
Yeah, well, it's
I must have just
I can't knock anybody for missing anything in this movie. I fell asleep 42
I mean,
times.
yeah, I'm making fun, but I don't remember any of the ending of this. But I
do
remember the sonogram where like Freddy shows the souls going through like the umbilical tube, and he's like, "What a growing boy needs."
Oh no, I do remember that.
How sweet, fresh souls, whatever. Yeah, so he spits the soul snake on Freddy, which beats him somehow. I don't fucking know, John. I don't know.
Rock, paper, scissors, snake, Freddy.
Yeah, I don't know. God.
Yeah, well,
so bad.
Jacob turns all Freddy-ish.
Yeah,
and then he does that to Freddy, and then Freddy, maybe it's the souls of the kids he killed, but he starts having like I don't know, tumors. Like it looks like mad balls shooting out of him. Remember mad balls?
I do.
Like flesh covered mad balls shooting out of him.
Right.
Until he finally, I think, just kind of like rips in half or disappears.
And then doesn't his mom take him, and like she takes him behind all these doors, like there's just they're all slamming.
Yes. And the doors are breaking one by one as they shut.
But then the
you
next
get to the final door. Yeah.
But am I wrong? Doesn't the mom also like make him energy and put him back in her womb?
She jams him in there. Yeah, she definitely jams him in there. Yeah, she's like, "Go home, boy." Like.
I don't feel like that's a long-term solution for anything.
I don't think so either, because the doors won't even hold the power. Like, I don't know why the doors are blowing open and exploding.
Yeah, because Alice
saw the power of Freddy. I don't know.
Because Alice also then like crushes up like 8-year-old Jacob and puts him back in.
Puts her in his vagina.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, him in her vagina.
Yeah,
maybe he has a vagina. I don't know.
she she balls him up and jams him up there, and then like
As one does.
as one does, and
Yeah.
then we get the last scene of the film is Yvonne is still alive. Obviously,
Yes.
they're at a park. They're gonna have a picnic. Pepsi obviously was a sponsor because they had a bunch of
Yeah,
cans
they all had
of Pepsi.
Pepsi.
And she's now has like the real Jacob,
actual
the
baby.
actual baby Jacob, and
And we get the jump rope girls.
the jump rope girl staring.
Yeah.
And so as we know,
Did you notice they were singing the wrong words when they were singing?
well,
It was 9:10. Freddy's back again. I was like, no, that's not how
Yeah.
the song goes.
well, I think that they were trying.
I know, but I
yeah,
didn't like it. Don't change the song.
Don't
I
change the
don't
song.
like it.
Don't change the song.
Yeah.
Don't mess with the classics,
That's
Freddy.
fucking yeah. 4 movies of the same song, then all of a sudden you change the lyrics. Writers.
All right, so that is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the Dream Child, Part 5.
Child.
And we do a couple things at the end of these episodes. We got to start off by
Did you notice
going
the
through-
band at one point? Hold on, I'm sorry. There was like a scene where they were watching TV and there was a band on the TV. It was like they were watching MTV and there was a fucking rock band. It was fucking Eric Singer from Kiss, the fucking the drummer from Kiss, with Ted Nugent and Rudy Sarzo from Quiet Riot.
really.
Yeah, yeah. It was like they called the band Hot Seat something or some shit. But I was like, I know those guys. Like, yeah, it's fucking Rudy Sarzo and Ted Nugent and Eric Singer from Kiss.
I read on this in this film that you know how like the last few had like a metal, like, you know, Dokken obviously, and I think there was something in part 4.
Yep.
This one apparently was Bruce Dickinson's "Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter."
Oh
and,
yeah.
and I don't know if it's in the credits or not because I don't remember it being in the movie. But a couple years later, he re-recorded it and re-released it with Iron Maiden, and it is the only Iron Maiden song to ever hit #1 on the UK rock charts, which is fucking insane.
That's insane.
It's
Yeah,
insane. It's
that's
absolutely
crazy.
insane.
That's crazy. It's not in the credits because the credits song is Cool Mo D,
Was
Yeah,
it really? As soon as the
It
credits
is.
popped up, I got out.
which was a funny choice because that's a diss track that he wrote about LL Cool J.
Oh,
So, like-
was it really?
Yeah, I'm like, this is a weird choice to play at the end credits of a Nightmare on Elm Street movie as like a diss track he wrote about LL. Like, I'm like, this is bizarre. Just this. Listen, there's a lot of bizarre shit that goes on in this movie, so why not?
Yeah.
Why not just fucking put a weird diss track at the end? Why not?
All right, let's go over our favorite kill time, or our favorite kill, and of course we have to play this.
Officer Hawkins, tell me what happened in here. Tell me what happened. Did Michael kill? Did Michael kill again?
Did Michael kill again?
Officer Hawkins. Larry, we're gonna start with you. What's your favorite
Yeah?
kill in this movie?
Oh.
You got to have one.
Do I?
Yeah, I was
have
gonna
to.
say none of the above.
All right, then when Amanda Kruger shoves Freddy back into her vagina. That's my favorite kill. It's not a kill?
Well, okay. Well, I'll give it to you.
All
I'll
right.
give it to you.
I'll
Thanks.
allow it. But
I'll allow this
Nope.
one. I'll go
Thanks.
quick. I'm gonna go the motorcycle death. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the robot Freddy was stupid, but I liked the kind of Borg-esque action. I like when he looks like Anakin Skywalker at one point. Like you can only see his eyes and his bald head. His hair gets ripped off. So I'm gonna go with that. What do you got, Stu?
I'll go with Super Freddy because I like comic books.
That's what Patrick went for.
Yeah.
Alright.
All right.
None of them in this movie are particularly good. Like, when's the last time we did any movie in either of these franchises where just finding a good kill was this hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
There's only 3. Like, right?
Yeah.
Well, you added the Freddy one, so
Yeah, I just made that up. 'Cause I refuse to choose one of the 3 that there are.
Yeah, there's not a lot. You're right about that. All right, let's get past the kill, and I think it's time to rate this thing. And
Are those your grades?
Yeah. I don't think that I deserved an F. Do you?
all right, so Stu, read them off. What have we given parts 1 through 4 at this point?
how do you want me to do this? Movie by movie, or like the 3, like do all of my grades, all of your grades, all of Larry's grades? Which would you rather me do?
Movie by movie.
Okay. So part 1 is very easy. All 3 of us gave it a 4.5.
Okay.
Part 2, I'll start off with Lloyd because Lloyd was on the part 2 episode.
Oh.
He gave it 3.5. John gave it 3.25. Larry gave it a 4.0, and I was the low end there. I gave it a 2.0.
I'm low on 3.25. I'm going to admit it's more of a 3.5. Things change as we know. I'm going to go with a 3.5 now, but okay.
Part 3, Dream Warriors. I was the high end. I gave it a 4.0. John gave it a 2.75, and Larry gave it a 2.5.
Yeah, that movie's not good.
And the Dream Master, I gave it a 2.0. Larry gave it a 1.5, and John with a startling 2.75 for the Dream
What?
Master. He gave it a 2.75, man.
I
Wow.
must have been feeling really altruistic or like I don't know, like it that's definitely, just like I said about 3 or 2, that's definitely more of a I'm not going to go lower than 2, but it's maybe a 2.25.
Yeah.
All right, now I feel like I can't say that I'd like this one more. Holy cow. All right, let's start with Stu. Stu, what do you give? Of course, on the pint rating scale, 0 to 5, quarter and half scale optional. What do you give Nightmare on Elm Street 5?
I gave part 4 a 2.0. I mentioned earlier I scored.
Joe Boo.
Yeah, I couldn't find Freddy. But I found Joe Boo.
Fuck you, Joe Boo. I'll do this myself.
I mentioned earlier I gave this a half a star less, so I have this at 1.5, which even that feels a little generous, but hey, this movie doesn't even hit 90 minutes, and the conceit of the baby is dreaming is at least a good idea, even if the movie did nothing worthwhile with it. So 1.5. I expect the next movie to be worse.
Okay, so I'll go next. I can't believe I gave that last one a 2.75. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck, because I think back on it and I'm like, holy shit. Maybe I gave it a 2.75 because I liked it more than Dream Warriors. Because I did like it more than Dream Warriors. That movie's overrated as shit.
Well, you
All
gave
right.
it the same score as Dream Warriors. You gave both of them a 2.75.
Okay, I still think I like 4 better, but it's not a 2. Oh wow, I'm gonna say I think on the podcast I usually don't overinflate. I feel like I overinflated here, so then I'm gonna go ahead and say, especially after we talked about it, this is a 2. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Oof.
It's not
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not good.
great. It's not
No.
great. I will give it credit. I do like you said, the idea of using the baby, and I do like a lot of the set piece. I like that comic book set piece. I thought that was pretty cool. I like the motorcycle scene, but it doesn't add up to anything. All right, Larry, what do you got?
It's like a collection of fucking scenes. Like it's not even a cohesive movie. It's God. I don't even. This was bad, guys. This was bad. Like this was just fucking brutal. I'll give it a half. 0.5.
0.5.
0.5. And the half is
Larry scores things so low. I love how low Larry goes on some things.
the half. I mean,
Larry-
I hated it, Stu. I was just
let's,
like,
let's harken back to the Friday the 13th remake that Larry didn't even qualify as a movie because he gave it a 0.0.
Did I?
Wow, I
This
don't
was
remember
close.
that.
Yeah, the Friday the 13th reboot, Larry gave 0.0. He didn't
Wait,
even
wait.
qualify it as a completed movie.
Now, I will say this. I remember enjoying the reboot when I saw it to begin with. And I remember when we watched it, I didn't think it was great either. Not a 0.0. But did Larry give 9 a better score than the reboot?
Yes. He gave 9 a 0.5.
Okay.
at least it's got a plot. Like fucking the reboot is just like, let me try to jam 1 through 4 all into one fucking movie. Like,
Yeah, but it's got dreamy
And then-
ass Jared Padalecki in it, right?
not only that,
And it has
but
Trent,
then,
the single greatest character in horror
and then
history.
you've also turned Jason into a kidnapper in that movie. Like,
Yeah.
he's living under a cave with kidnapped women. Get the fuck out of here.
He's trying to get a
Weird-ass-
harem. He's
Yeah.
getting a harem going, yeah.
Weird
He's
ass
growing
piece of
pot
shit.
out in the field.
And
Oh.
let's remember, we learned something very important very recently, is that Trent is also a part of the Transformers universe. That's the same character in Transformers 1. That
Same
still blows my
character
mind.
name.
No, same character.
Yeah.
Michael Bay produced those movies. It's just fucking crazy. So, all right. So
yeah, 0.5, and I honestly, I'm only giving it a 0.5 because I think I'm going to need that 0.0 for one of the other ones. So, I'm going to need to reserve the 0.0 possibly for the next one.
Patrick, you obviously have seen these movies. In your head, do you think we're in for? Yeah, she did remind him of his mother, Chris. Yeah, she is a keeper. What was her name? Amanda Rigetti. I always think of Dave Rigetti.
Dave Rigetti, yeah.
Patrick, are we in for like anything? I know the reboot, but like 6 and 7, are we going to enjoy ourselves, or are we in for a worse time coming up? I want to know that. Stu, what were you going to say? You're going to say something.
Oh, I was actually going to kind of answer that question. New Nightmare is widely regarded as a good movie.
Yeah, I only saw it once.
I've heard that.
Yeah. He likes Freddy's Dead more than this one, but not by much. I remember one thing about Freddy's Dead, other than the 3D.
Oh, that's
3D.
the only thing I remember.
And I think young Breckin Meyer is in it, and maybe there's a video game related.
Yeah.
The power glove. He does the power glove with his
Yeah.
glove. Yeah.
I feel like I remember that.
Yeah, Mark McCurley told me the other night that Breckenmeyer is in that one.
Yeah, because I remember the one thing I remember about seeing that, I saw it once, was in the movies. It was the only time I'd ever seen a 3D movie where they give you the glasses, but there's a prompt on the screen because it's only the last like 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Let's see what he says. Patrick says, I am down on New Nightmare, honestly. It's a great idea, but they don't do much with it. I feel it is overrated. All right. Interesting.
The thing about New Nightmare is it kind of throws the goofy wisecracking Freddy out the window. Like you're just back to Freddy's just a badass who just wants to kill you.
Okay. All right.
He's not joking around and being quippy and using a power glove and super Freddy. But it's been a long time since I've seen it, so it may not hold up. He may be right.
Well, we obviously have been doing these at a very leisurely pace.
Yeah,
but...
so we'll get to it in 2025.
No. This is the plan. I would like to do this. I would like to be done with these movies by like the end of the summer. So
I'd like to be done with them right fucking now.
Well, let's plan on doing another one in June.
I genuinely want to watch the reboot again because I saw that in theaters and don't remember.
I got to be honest. I watched the reboot and I saw it in the theaters. Whatever. It was what it was. I watched it again on like HBO a couple years ago. That's a movie that I feel like gets more hate than it deserves. I didn't think it was that bad. It's not great. Yeah. It's not as good as the original Nightmare. But you know what they did? If you're going to get somebody else to play Freddy, Jackie Earle Haley is a pretty good choice. I mean,
nobody's gonna be Robert Englund. Like,
exactly.
You're screwed even trying that.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. 2023 is the summer of Freddy. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Let's go over some stuff. Again, go to ConnecticutCultClassics.com. Tickets for the June 17th show will be on sale when, Larry? Coming up in
May 12th. Is that a Friday? Yeah, May 12th. They'll be on
May 12th.
Yep.
Hope to see you guys there. Don't forget to go over to swoproductions.com. As me and Stu might have discussed last week off of air, there's a whole slew of new Pop-Tarts out there.
Stu. I went to the store and I didn't have time to grab them because I was on my way somewhere, but I saw they have Apple Jacks flavored, which I like that they're just doing cereal flavored breakfast now, but I'll grab the Apple Jack ones. The not Pop-Tarts, the Fruit Loops flavored Pop-Tarts, the worst I've ever had. I couldn't even finish there's 2 in a packet. I couldn't. They were so gross.
Really?
I'm not surprised, kind of. The sound of it is just,
yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Probably doesn't taste like it, but I remember when, they do all those different flavors of Oreos. Somebody brought in, they did Kool-Aid flavored Fruity Pebble flavored Oreos, and that they tasted like the Kool-Aid powder. Like, you ever just like put that red Kool-Aid powder, like picture that with a chocolate Oreo cookie, like oh God, it was so fucking horrendous. So horrendous.
I am going to give you all a tip here. If you're like me and you love lemon flavored things, because I love lemon, the lemon Oreos.
Oh, they're fucking fantastic.
I can't have them in my house. I will eat every sleeve imaginable, and then the plastic, and then the fucking wrapper. So those lemon Oreos I know this is going to sound like like controversial, but like I might like them more than regular Oreos because I'm not like chocolate is like it's not always my thing. I like fruity flavored stuff. Man, those lemon ones are really good,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, no, I'm on board. Those things are fucking fantastic. Um, even the thin ones, they make like the thin.
Yeah, I tried them once. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
They're pretty
I
good.
just love lemon desserts. Lemon desserts are like my
Me
jam.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. So Stu, I know you said Ant-Man is out now. I know you never know exactly, but like what do we have maybe coming up? What movies are you guys covering coming up?
You know, movies.
Not even an idea?
I don't know. You know how long in advance I record shit? Like, I could tell you what's coming up months from now. I couldn't tell you what's coming up in like the next 2 or 3 months.
Well, that okay, give us some movies that you have covered that will be coming soon.
Some
at any point.
movies that will be coming soon. We did Shang-Chi, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Into the Spider-Verse, Josie and the Pussycats, Elektra.
I guarantee you must have given Scott Pilgrim what you rate on 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gave it a 40. I guarantee Stu's like 40. I know you love that movie.
I really like Scott Pilgrim.
No, I do
It's a
too.
good movie. I do too.
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy that one quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. All right, so check out SW
Fantastic
Productions.
Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Check out SW Productions, all that good stuff, and more. Hey, if you're around this weekend, don't forget, I put it on the bottom there, Free Comic Book Day 2023, Saturday 10 to 5, Boom Tube Comics in Southington. Me and Lloyd are going to be there. Lou's going to be hanging out with us. We're going to do trivia. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have a good time. And then don't forget, I don't have the time. I think it's 7 p.m., but I'll get it out to everybody on May 18th, live stream for The Cure Night 1.
Oh, yeah.
Lloyd, Stu, and myself will be again saying fuck you to cancer. And we made a pretty good amount of money last year. We made a good amount of money the year before. We're going to be on for an hour. We've decided we're going to play Pick Your Poison. So that's going to be fun. We're going to try to get some audience involvement with it, but very important. Check us out, support us. If
you donate amounts of money, I'm going to do shots of straight lemon juice.
Are you going to do straight lemon juice?
Yeah.
I'll do something alcoholic. I'll get blasted by the end of that thing. I don't care. We got to raise some money for that.
I can't do anything spicy. Everybody does something spicy. Like, I can't do the mildest mild of spice without wanting to die, and so
Yeah.
I will literally throw up on my computer if I do anything spicy. But I'll do straight shots of lemon juice
Sounds
to the
good.
point where my teeth just fall out. I don't know.
All right, that'll be fun. I won't. I like spicy foods. I did one spicy food challenge video ever, that Toe of Satan, and that almost made me throw up. And I don't throw up, so that was rough. And then finally,
Malort.
if you are, if I could get some Malort, I would do a shot of Malort for
so bad.
It
So
is. It's
bad.
totally gross. It's totally gross. If you can, head over to patreon.com/the pint. It's $2.50 a month, $30 for the year. And these are some of the episodes that you haven't heard if you're not a member. Lethal Weapon, Over the Edge with Larry. Backdraft with Larry, he fucking hated it. The Frighteners with Larry, he fucking hated it. Marathon Man and the Evil Dead.
I meant to tell Larry I had to text John after I heard your Frighteners episode and say, who pissed him off more, you on the Frighteners or me on Minority Report?
I am more of a Frighteners fan. And the Frighteners was a tough episode because it was me, Laura, Larry, and Lloyd and Larry did not like it. And Laura liked it, but Laura was siding with them as they were making points. They're like, she's like, you know what? You're right. You're right. And thank you, Patrick, because I like the Frighteners too. And Over the Edge was a lot of fun. Yeah. So go over, check that out, please. I'm just trying to give you more content. So check that out. So I guess that's it, guys. Can we come back in June? We'll do Joe Boo. Can we come back in June and do Freddy's Dead?
Yes. You know my schedule.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on you two. I'm fine.
I know
Give me a
you-
weeknight and I'm good.
Stu is the only, and this is by no means saying anything about Stu's social life, because I know you do a ton of stuff. But Stu
I
is
don't have a social life. No.
But
that's inaccurate.
but you and Amanda go out and you do stuff. But Stu is the one guy I can count on. I'm like, ooh, Lloyd canceled tonight, or Lloyd's busy. I want to record something. I guarantee Stu's going to be around tonight. And unless Stu is doing one of his 9,000 guest spots on any other podcast that he's on all the time, He's literally like, okay. And then he's also like, I'll watch the movie too. I'm like, wow. I got to try to plan this stuff out. And Larry's very tough because Larry, both of his kids play 9 sports, and he's the head of the Horror Foundation of America. So it's just tough getting him.
And then one of his kids is a classic horror franchise killer.
Yes.
Tough to keep him, out of trouble.
All right, everybody.
I hope to God that Owen is the killer in Scream 7.
Hey, fucking can't make the movie any worse. That's for goddamn sure.
Thank you, Chris.
That fucking franchise.
Chris likes the Frighteners too. All right, we'll end it on that.
Last thing to throw in. The Countdown podcast, who you and I both love.
Yeah.
I listened to their review of Scream 6. Paul considers the Scream franchise to be the only franchise without a bad movie. And I'm just like, have you seen like half of them?
Yeah, I love the Countdown, and Wayne's takes are definitely out there, but I like kind of like out of podcasters, I kind of always feel like maybe Paul is like the most level-headed, and then once in a while he'll say something that's so fucking ridiculous that I'm like, that couldn't have come out of that guy's mouth. But because I know he said that. He was like, oh, Scream, all the Scream movies are great. And I'm like, the first one might be the only good one. And then the rest are just like maybe watchable. That last one, I saw that because I did So Wizard. That sucked. Part 6. That 6 was bad.
6 was bad.
Yeah.
That movie sucked. All right. Well, Patrick, thank you again. Thank you for supporting us. And if any of you guys are around on Saturday, would love to see you at BoomTube. It's going to be a good day. And it's also their 5-year anniversary. So come down and celebrate. Have a slice of cake. I don't know if there'll be cake there. So don't ask Dan for cake. Because
if I go and there's no fucking cake, there's going to be a problem.
Sorry, Dan, I made that up, but we're going to need cake now. All right. See ya.